We are live for another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC Paris. It's been a while, and it's good to be back. I'm hyped to be back. Now, might be a little bit off today because I'm a little bit tired, still a bit jet-lagged. Only got back on Sunday, so been doing my best to catch up on the tape. There's a few fights that I have not been able to tape fully. I will let you guys know when we get to those. But overall, really excited for this card. It's a really good card. There's a lot of new guys coming in, a bunch of people making their debut. And overall, just a lot of great matchups. I think there's going to be a good amount of betting spots as well. So I'm really looking forward to breaking down the card with you guys, talking about it. Make sure you're in the comments in the live chat with me. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. Maybe we'll try to come up with a parlay or something at the end. We'll see how it goes. I think we have like 14 fights or 15 fights, which is sick. And yeah, let's jump right into it in just a second. Thank you very much. And thank you for tuning in. As always good seeing you in here. And yeah, so don't have as many people as usual. I think the algo got a little bit messed up. We could do a little bit of a recap for the last few weeks because once again, it has been a while. So let's see. What was after? Okay. Oh, wow. It's been a really long while. Right. So I left. It was UFC 319. Lost on Cannonier, won on Lerone Murphy, and I hit Susurkayev round 2. Cashed 1.58 units there. Then it was Dana White's Contender Series week 2. I had just 2 plays. I had a quarter unit on Exposito, which, you know, he tried, but he had no real chance. And then Hook at Uriel over 1.5 at plus 190. Lost 0.8 units there on that entire card. Then PFL World Tournament 10. I had a parlay with Edwards and Ramazanov. Ramazanov kind of screwed us there. That was a bad bet on my part. Then for UFC Shanghai, I just had a really square parlay. Sterling Pavlovich cashed it for a unit profit there. Dana White's Contender Series week 3, I had Christian Perez against Manuel Souza at plus 220, and I didn't get to see the fight until later. And, you know, on one hand, it felt good that my read was pretty solid. You know, I thought that Perez could give him problems in the grappling. I thought that, you know, making him plus 220 didn't make a ton of sense to me. And he was up 2-zip. So on one hand, that felt good that the read was solid, but then losing it in the 3rd round by finish kind of stunk. So it is what it is. Lost a unit there. And then we had Contender Series last night. And that was something. I had fight goes the distance in the McGoyan-McMillan fight, which cashed. I don't know whether that was a good bet or not, honestly, because that was really stressful, especially in the 1st round and especially at the end of the 3rd. And then I forced a bet on Samuel Silva, and I really shouldn't have. My original read, I was leaning Nalo. Then I talked myself back onto Silva, and then I was like, you should just make the play. Like, Nalo's older, like, low output. And, of course, Nalo comes out there and just sleeps him. Passed on Chipolin because I just couldn't get a good read on it. Passed on the main because that was a mess. But then I had Theo Hague by decision, plus 1,400. I understand it. It was a bad bet, I guess, but that number felt pretty crazy to me pre-flop. And then I also had over 1.5 in that fight at plus money. And, well, that stunk. He got dropped quickly. I thought he was, you know, going to be able to recover. It looked like he might be able to. I'll be honest, I'm super biased, but I thought those were behind the head shots. But either way, that ref job was just crazy. That entire thing was a mess. No words there. It is what it is. Lost 1.68 units there, and I'm hoping to get back into the win column this week with UFC Paris. I like the spots I already have, and there's a bunch of spots that I still am looking at and I'm still considering. So hopefully we can do well this week. Knock on wood. But I'll catch up with the chat. We got Jake with the $2 dono. Is that $2 Canadian? Either way, thank you, Jake. Appreciate it. And we are so back. It feels good. Fat Wavy. What's up, Fat Wavy? I also baited on Thiago and Silva. LOL. Yeah, that sucked. Wait, Thiago? Who was that? Am I blanking? Oh, Hague, I mean. I see. And definitely a few behind that. Yeah, I thought those were behind the head. I thought they were. Good to see you as well, my brother. Thank you for tuning in. UFC China has killed me. Yeah, I kept it small there. I was kicking myself for not playing Dawkins because I was looking at Dawkins and I was thinking about it, and then I chickened out. So that's on me, but That would have felt good to hit that too. I kept it small. I had just the square parlay because I really wasn't able to tape much while I was away. I tried whenever I had a sec, like at night, whatever, when we were going to bed, I would try to sneak in a few fights. Oh, and Charles Johnson, that was crazy. Like, I thought about it because I back Charles Johnson all the time, but I also really like Kavanaugh, and I still do. But man, that sucked to not be there for that one. And thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right, so let's jump into the card. First fight of the night, we have Shauna Bannon versus Sam Hughes. Bannon 7-1-0. She's going to be 31 years old, 5'5" with a 65-inch reach. On the other side, Hughes 10-6-0. She's 33, so she's 2 years older. Going to be the same height and going to have just about the same reach. Look, I can't believe we're in 2025 and Sam Hughes is minus 310. I don't know that I ever thought that was going to happen against anybody. I mean, I guess if you make a fight with her in Puja or like a fight with her in like Dubin, I just never thought I'd see it. She's been an underdog in every single UFC fight, and I believe she's had 10 of them. So this is pretty crazy, but I can't push back on it too hard. Am I going to go bet on Shauna Bannon? Absolutely not. It would take a lot more than plus 260 to get me there just because I don't see a major path for her. Sam Hughes, she's a dog. She'll fight for your money. She's got heart. And that's kind of all you really need from her with a little bit of skill, and she's got it. She's worked on the grappling a lot. She's a solid enough boxer. She's incredibly hittable, but what is Bannon going to do? Knock her out? I highly doubt it. Like, Bannon's pretty decent. Like, I don't hate her striking. She's relatively clean. She's got a decent enough output. The kicks are good. Range, like, at range, she's solid. The range management, not that great, though. She's not, like, sticking and moving and keeping people away. I just feel like she's not going to be able to keep Hughes off of her. Hughes is going to get hit, probably plenty, but there's nothing really to fear from Bannon. And I think Hughes is just going to throw more, do more, mix in the takedowns, probably take her down a couple times, at least try. And I think she's going to win. I'm never going to lay minus 310 on Sam Hughes. I won't. I got no hate for her. I just don't rate her to that point. That's a lot. That's a lot. And would it be the craziest thing ever if she came out there and it ended up being really close and really sweaty and Bannon was able to, land some good shots and the Hughes couldn't land takedowns, couldn't really separate? Wouldn't be crazy. So I'll pick Hughes. Hughes should dominate. We can look at some props. Like, fight goes is minus 425. I could try to make an argument for ITD. Like, maybe Hughes really mops her, but like, I don't really see that too much. Like, her wins are pretty good recently. Like the win over Luciano. I had Luciano there. The win over Dudakova. I had Dudakova as well. Those are good wins, like way better than anything Bannon has ever had. And Bannon was beating Puja, in my opinion, and I had a bet on Puja until Puja got that knockdown. And then she got the arm bar, but overall, that was a terrible look either way, because even though she was beating Puja, it wasn't by a lot, and I don't think Puja's any good. So, yeah, Hughes should get it done. Not going to waste time on this fight because I'm not going to bet on it. What's Hughes, like, KO? Nah, plus 650. I thought we'd get at least plus 1,000, like ground and pound maybe. Nah, they're kind of onto it. Maybe like even Hughes round 3, like plus 1,200 is kind of BS. Plus 1,400. I would have expected a lot better. So yeah, I'm just going to pass there, but Hughes will be the pick. Should be easy enough. It could be interesting. Let's see what the spread is. And not on Bannon. I got no interest on the Bannon, but maybe a minus 3.5 on Hughes. Let's see. Hughes, nah, minus 140. I thought it might be plus money. Okay. All right, we'll move on. Hughes decision for me. Let's see what we got in the chat. Caught him plus 210. He's talking about Charles Johnson. That's crazy. He put 650. I heard Kavanaugh had a really clean first round. Won every minute, then dropped his hands. Yeah, the screenshots of him with his hands down as Charles is just rocking him was crazy. I got to rewatch a lot of those fights. But, all right, moving on. So this fight, I have not taped it yet. I'm very familiar with both, so I'll tell you guys what I know. But full transparency, haven't taped this one yet. Haven't gotten to it. We have Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Andreas Gustafsson. Fakhretdinov, 24-2-1, 33 years old, 6 foot tall with the 74-inch reach. Gustafsson, 12-2-0, 34. He's 1 year older. Thought he was older than that. Thought he was like 36. He's 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 1 inch reach disadvantage. So I'm going to always have a place in my heart for Gustafsson. I had him against Chaos Williams. I had the decision pretty big at like various numbers, and he came through. He came through. That felt real good. He looked really nice. And the dude's just a dog. He's an absolute dog. He has zero defense, which is concerning in this fight because Rinat does hit hard. I'll give him that. And Renat's got a good jab. He can sit into it well. He's not like a striker who's going to come out there and put together like a crazy 15-minute kickboxing performance, but he can put up numbers. You know, look at the Liao fight. I understand Liao won that fight. He got robbed. I got robbed along with all of you. I was also on Liao. But Rinat still put up landed 100 significant strikes. Like, he wasn't fully out of that fight. He was fighting back. He was landing. And I do think that the defense of Gustafsson could be a problem. But Renat's pretty hittable too. I think he's durable. I think he's a little bit more durable than Gustafsson is. But I can see him getting hurt too. And Gustafsson's just relentless. He also hits hard. I don't really rate his striking at range, at distance. It's not anything too spectacular, but he just keeps throwing. He throws, and then he goes where he's most comfortable, which is the clinch, and he's very strong in the clinch. We have seen Rinat kind of held up against the cage before, against Dalby, against Liao. Now he's also really strong, really physical, and I do think that he could possibly, reverse position, either get his own control time on the clinch or maybe take down Gustafsson. I think that's on the table as well. Gustafsson's a good enough wrestler in his own right. I believe he was like a national champion or something along those lines, and you can see it. You can see it with him, but his control is not very good. That's why he needs a lot of takedowns. He does have good ground and pound. He's very aggressive, and he'll just keep going for it. And his cardio is really good. He definitely has the better cardio. It's just like he's better in the clinch, right? He has the cardio edge, and I guess I'll give him like the pace edge. But I'm not ready to say he's a better wrestler than Rinat. I'm not ready to say he's a better striker than Rinat, and I'm not really ready to say that he hits harder than Rinat. So for me, it's a pretty close fight, and the line makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Like when I was backing Gustafsson at plus like 168 or plus 170 against Chaos, that was a very different story. Chaos is a good enough fighter. But he's a striker. He's primarily a striker, and I felt that Gustafsson would have an edge in both the physicality, in the grappling, and in the clinch. And I also felt that Chaos wasn't fully invested. That was kind of my thing. You look at one guy's Instagram, and he's kind of doing his own thing, not really showing any training stuff, just, doing whatever he's doing. And then you look at Gustafsson, and he's just training all the time. So that kind of gave me some comfort as well. But it's not the case with Rinat. Renat's also locked in. Renat's also training. And I think this could be a very competitive fight. I could see really either guy getting it done. I could see Rinat getting an early finish. I can see Rinat banking the early rounds and winning a decision. I can see Gustafsson winning the fight based off of just clinch control and just purely doing more and having more in the gas tank in the second and third round. And I could see him finishing Rinat late. I think that's possible too. I mean, Zaleski almost did it, and he's ancient. So competitive fight. Pre-tape, I'm going to go Gustafsson decision. But I feel weird laying chalk on him when, first of all, I bet Trevin Jao was against him when that fight was made. Obviously, that would have gone terribly for me. I'm glad. But I bet him against Chaos at like plus 170. And now I have to pay minus 120 against, in my opinion, a much better fighter in Rinat. And I don't know if I'm ready to do that. So Gustafsson's a pick for now, but that might change, and I do not have any bets on it. And as always, you can only get my bets at my notes and my breakdowns at the House of Stims Discord. Link is in the description of this video. And what's up, Mushroom? Good to see you in the chat, brother. All right. Next up, we've got Brad Tavares versus Robert Bryczek. Brad Tavares, he's going to be 21, 10-0, 37 years old, 6'1" with a 74-inch reach. Bryczek, 17, 6-0, 35. He's 2 years younger, 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have a 1 inch reach advantage. I also did not tape this one yet, and I mean, it's kind of for obvious reasons. Brad Tavares is quite old at this point. I do believe that he's just about washed. He's has 31 professional fights. He's taken a lot of damage. He's slowed down. He hasn't really looked great, not even in the wins, like the Chris Weidman fight, wherever that was over here. Not a great look. G-Rod, like, that's fine. Jung Young Park, also fine. That dude's a dog. And even in the Mearshart fight in the win, like, I didn't think he looked very good. But with Bryczek, I don't even know what's it really going to look like? I mean, I guess I could see what the win would look like. I wouldn't put him knocking out Brad completely out of the picture. I know Brad's really durable, but the man's been fighting forever. The man is not He's taking so much damage. I do think that Bryczek can land a big shot and possibly put him away. I don't think that's impossible. I also think, like, I guess he can win a decision because Brad's a lot more timid these days. Not really separating at all. Not like he ever really separated all that much, but especially now, I don't really think he's separating all that much. And I just think that if Bryczek lands a few big shots and looks a little bit better than he did against Igor Pateria, my king, then I think this is a winnable fight for him. And at this line, if you made me make a bet, again, I'm pre-tape, but I'm going to be very slow to tape this one because I don't think I'm going to bet on it. But gun to my head, you make me make a bet. It would definitely be on Bryczek. He's got the hardware. He's got a lot of power. I think he can knock out Brad. I think he can possibly squeak by a damage-based decision. I lean towards Brad getting it done, but no confident take pre-tape, and I highly doubt that's going to change after I tape it. Thank you, Mushroom. I appreciate you, brother. And no, Dinser. Hello, are you confident for Rufy to get it done? I guess you're going to have to stick around and find out. Or just come back later, and I'll have it timestamped, and you can just watch that. All right, next up, we have Sam Patterson versus Trey Waters. Sam Patterson, 13-2-1, 29 years old. He's 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. Waters, 9-1-0. He's 30, so he's 1 year older, going to be 2 inches taller, and he's going to be at a 1-inch reach disadvantage. I did tape this one a lot. Definitely wanted to look into it, and I do like Patterson here. I do think he's the side. It's a little nerve-wracking, you know, at this line at -180 when he does keep his chin up high. He has been cracked, and it's funny, you know, he got knocked out by Yanal Ashmus, who's like 5'8", 5'7". Imagine Yanal Ashmus fighting Trey Waters. Just the visuals of what that would look like. It's just crazy to think about, but it's concerning. But at the same time, like, since he's moved up to welterweight, I think it was a phenomenal move for him. He clearly filled into the weight class really well. He does not look like he ever could have made lightweight when you look at him. He looks like a big welterweight. And I think it was the right move. I think the chin probably was partially because he was cutting so much weight and he was just really kind of drained. But the other problem is that he keeps his chin up like this. Now, I noticed in his last fight against Barlow, he did tuck it a little bit more. He seemed like he was trying to tuck it at least. But he kind of can't help himself. He's got that tall man's defense. So it's a little bit of a concern. Waters is a slick striker. He does throw a lot of output. I didn't think he looked really good against Billy Goff, to be honest, and I had Billy Goff in that fight. I thought there was an argument for him to win that fight. But Waters also apparently got in the knee injury that he's been out with. Apparently that happened in the first round. I don't know how true that is. I'm going to take it as true because either way, that doesn't make a ton of a difference to me. Like, Billy Goff is okay, but I think Patterson is probably at least 2 levels above Billy Goff and 2 or 3 levels above Josh Quinlan. So it's not like I really rate the wins of Trey Waters, and like the Jolin Fuller win, like it's okay for regionals, but it's like, it's nothing crazy. And Fuller looked awful in that fight. Absolutely terrible. And like the one time he faces a grappler with Bonfim, I know Bonfim's a really good grappler, but he got subbed the second he got taken down. You know, he has good takedown defense because he's so long, he's so lanky. He can tripod. I always talk about it when I wrestled. I'm short. I hated wrestling tall guys because I'd go for the legs and they just tripod. And I wasn't very good at finishing after that. I just couldn't get them down. I hated wrestling tall dudes. But while his takedown defense is good, I think that once you get him down and he's on his back, I think he can make mistakes. I think he can get stuck. Like with Bonfim, when he got taken down, he just held onto that guillotine, and that's bad grappling IQ because that's an easy head and arm right there. So I feel like in the grappling, Patterson should have a really significant edge. Like, Patterson's not the best wrestler in the world. Most of it is like trips, but honestly, with a tall guy like Waters, that might be honestly probably not. Your best move with a guy like Waters is a blast double before he can tripod or anything like that. Just double leg as quick as you can, as hard as you can. But I could see the trips working. And if he does get Waters down, I think he can submit him. Patterson's really slick on the mat. The transitions are really nice. And like I said, I don't think Waters is that great off of his back. I think he makes mistakes, and I think he can get stuck there. So I think big edge for Patterson in the grappling. I think on the feet, while I think Waters is cleaner, I don't think he has a huge advantage. I think Patterson's a pretty good striker in his own right, you know, and I think that Patterson, he showed it off in the Barlow fight. I had him against Barlow. I'm not going to pretend I thought he was going to win by knockout. That's for sure. I thought he would win by submission. Knocked him out. That was very impressive. It was a nice counter shot. And he showed off the counter striking there. He's got good combinations, good kicks, solid body work. So I think he'll be competitive on the feet, but then I think he has a major advantage on the ground. So for me, the side is Patterson. I think he's the only one who can look like a really big favorite in this fight, unless like Waters just deads him in the first couple minutes, which, like I said, is the concern with Patterson at this number. But I think he gets it done. I'm going to lean towards a sub, maybe like round 2, but a decision is possible too. I don't really think he's going to knock out Waters, but I also didn't think he would knock out Barlow. What's up, Steven's Picks? Good to see you in the chat. Thank you very much for the well wishes. It did go well. It did go well. And the honeymoon was nice. It was good to get away for a little while. And definitely listen to Steven. He's a smart, logical man. Like and subscribe. Support the channel if you like my stuff. All right. Next up, we got Kaue Fernandes versus Harry Hardwick. Fernandes, 10-2-0. He's 30 years old, 5'9" with a 73-inch reach. Hardwick, 13-3-1. Don't have his age, but he's younger than Kaue, I'm pretty sure. And he's going to be 1 inch taller. He is coming up in weight. He's not a lightweight. He's a featherweight normally. Cage Warriors champion. His brother, George Hardwick, is the guy who lost to Samuel Silva, who got knocked out yesterday. And people are really hard on the Hardwick brothers because of George. You know, I remember when he came on the Contender Series versus Al Sawadi, people were saying this is embarrassing that George even has to be on the Contender Series. He's way too good. He should never be on the show. He should be signed right away. And then he lost. And then he lost in Cage Warriors too. So that's why people are so low on them. But that's George. Harry's pretty damn good. And he hasn't lost since, I think, like 2020. He's fought many, many times. And he's a solid fighter. I think it's going to be tricky for him coming up in weight. And I do want to tape this one more. I started looking at it, but not fully. I've taped Kaue, but not Harry yet. Not fully. But Harry's a good boxer. He's got good body work. He's not really much of a grappler. He's primarily a striker, but he's good. He's got good forward pressure, good output, good cardio. He's durable, can take a shot. He can give a shot. He hits relatively hard, mixes it up really well. Good body work. I think I said that already, but like I said, I'm tired. I'm jet lagged. He's a good fighter, but so is Kaue. Kaue's been underrated for a long time. I gave him credit, and going into the Guram fight, I made such a stupid mistake. Like, I literally thought he could win. I bet him by knockout, Kaue. I bet him by knockout in round 3, I think. I don't remember if I had round 2 or not. And I did not bet his money line when he was like plus 300, which is the stupidest thing ever. But he's a really slick striker. He's got power. He's got really good leg kicks. He's got good kicks in general, solid combinations. Output is pretty good when he's not being taken down. He does struggle with the wrestling, but Harry's not really much of a wrestler from what I remember. Again, I got to tape a bit more, but 90% sure he's a striker by heart, by trade. So should be a striking affair. Should be a really good fight, but for now, I'm going to lean towards the Kaue side. I don't really see myself laying the chalk on him because I do rate Harry. I do think he belongs in the UFC. I do think he's going to give a good showing of himself, but I also think that it's kind of it's a tricky situation because he is moving up in weight and he is fighting a pretty good striker in his own right who does carry power and does manage range decently well. And I know that Guram seems pretty washed, but you got to give Kaue credit for that performance too. Like, it wasn't just Guram being washed. Kaue also is a solid fighter and a very good striker. So Kaue is a side for me. Not the side, like the pick for me. It would be dog or pass, but I don't really have much interest at the current line right now. Maybe once I look into Harry more, I can have more of a strong take. But for now, we'll go Kaue decision. This fight is something. We got Marcin Tybura versus Ante Delija. Tybura 27-9-0. He's 39 years old. Certainly washed, but he's still getting it done. He's 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. On the other side, Delija, he's going to be 25-6-0. He's 35 years old, so he's 4 years younger, even though he kind of feels older. And he's going to be 2 inches taller, and he's going to have a 1 inch reach advantage. So if you don't know who Delija is, he's from the PFL. Believe he won it. I don't remember it off the top of my head anymore. Yeah, he beat Scheffel, which doesn't mean a ton because he also lost to Capoloza twice, which also isn't the best look in my opinion. But either way, he was the champion PFL. He won one of the seasons, 2022. And I'm pretty hyped he's making his UFC debut. He's 35, so he's on the older side. But for heavyweight, that's fine. You can fight till you're like 42, 43, and you'll be okay. And it's a weird fight. I need to tape this one a lot more also. Not a fight I got to look into a ton. But for me, like, I don't really know. I really have to tape this one more. On the feet, like, I think Delija hits harder than Tybura. Tybura is just so slow now. Like, he's so slow. I think Delia's live to knock him out in the first. I think that's on the table. Delia's cardio is kind of a concern. Not the best cardio in the game, which I think does lean towards Tybura. Tybura, even at this age, he's still got good cardio, still has good wrestling. Delija, a good wrestler in his own right, not super easy to take down. Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that Capoloza was taking him down when he beat him in their finals match. It was their rematch. Capoloza knocked him out in the first fight, and then the second one, 90% sure Capoloza was grappling him. So it's a weird fight. I got to tape it to have a strong take. Going to lean towards Tybura for now, just based off of, think he can take down Delija as the fight goes on. I think his cardio is better, but Delija probably a little bit of a harder hitter right now. I think the striking's pretty close. They're both pretty slow. Neither of them is super fast or anything like that. But yeah, I'll lean towards Tybura with the zero confidence until I tape it. Next up, we got Oumar C versus Brendson Ribeiro. C is going to be 11-1-0. He's 29 years old, 6'4" with an 83-inch reach. On the other side, Ribeiro 17-8-0, 29 as well. He's 6'3", so he's 1 inch shorter, and he's going to be giving up 2 inches in reach. So tape this one today, and I think Oumar C should get it done relatively comfortably. Ribeiro's like a lot better than me and a lot of people have given him credit for. He's a good striker when he can keep the fight on the feet. He's good. He's rangy. He's got a good jab, good 1-2, good knees up the middle, solid kicks, good leg kicks. He hits very, very hard. And he's actually kind of fast on the feet too, but he's super hittable. He's quite chinny, and his counter grappling is just not any good. Like, his takedown defense, I believe, is 0% in the UFC, and he's just getting taken down. Doesn't take much. When he's off his back, like, yeah, he can be dangerous. He can submit guys like he did with DR, but I don't really see that working on Oumar. I'd be very surprised, because Oumar is a very good grappler in his own right, good wrestling, very good jiu-jitsu for a guy his size. And I just think that it should be relatively easy for Oumar to take him down. I think it should be relatively easy for him to keep him there. I think it should be moderately easy for him to submit Brendson Ribeiro, and I wouldn't count on him knocking him out either. I know everyone's super low on him after the Menafield loss, but I think it was a good loss for him to have. He was undefeated up until that point. And I think he needed a little bit of a wake-up call, that he needs to do a little bit more in his fights. He needs to throw more. He needs more urgency. And even there, there's an argument for him winning. There were people who scored that fight for him. I scored it for Menafield, but it was a close fight. And Menafield, unlike Ribeiro, is very difficult to take down and has very good takedown defense. And I think he probably hits harder than Ribeiro, so that might scare you off a bit. And he's also much stronger in the clinch. So Menafield is a tough ask for a guy like Oumar C. I don't think that Brendson Ribeiro is as tough of an ask. It was about the same line, and I think it makes a lot more sense for it to be this line here than it was against Menafield. So I think C should get this done. I guess he can lay an egg again, maybe get rocked, maybe just like do nothing, and Ribeiro outstrikes him. Like, if C's just pressuring and kind of fighting like he did against Don Jung, I think he should be fine. I think he'll be competitive on the feet, just can't stay at kicking range with Ribeiro. And I think he can knock him out or just grapple him. And I really do think he can grapple him, and I think he will. So I'll go C, submission, round number 1. Probably has the better cardio too, even though it didn't look great against Menafield. Menafield will do that to you. This fight I literally just taped before the show. We got William Gomis versus Robert Ruchala. Gomis, he's going to be 14-3-0, 28 years old, 6 foot tall with a 73-inch reach. Ruchala, he's 11. I'm going to call him Robert, because for some reason I don't think I'm doing his last name right. Rob is 11-1-0, 27 years old. He's 1 year younger, going to be 2 inches shorter, and he's going to have a 1 inch reach disadvantage. So I know a lot of really sharp people on Gomis, people who I respect, and I get it. I definitely get it. He's the cleaner striker. He learned a good lesson against Haider Emil. And honestly, like, Haider Emil, again, like I said, for Oumar C, that was a good loss. I think the Haider Emil loss was good for Gomis too, because look at his significant strike numbers up until that fight. He's never landing more than 50. Emil made him. Emil literally forced him to throw more, and he landed like 100 significant strikes in that fight. He was throwing a lot more. He has really good range management, very good movement, very defensively sound, and that's normally why his output is so low, is because he's so focused on being defensively sound, and it makes his opponent's output pretty low too. Like, to an extent, kind of like MVP. You know, obviously not the same, but to an extent, it's kind of like that. That's why people aren't landing much on him and why he's not landing much either. But while he is the slicker striker, the cleaner striker, and definitely the more defensively sound guy, like Robbie's pretty good. You know, I kind of like him. I'm watching him and like, I get it. He's very hittable. He's definitely very hittable, but he's a good striker in his own right. He's at a good camp also. Like I know Gomis at a good camp, MMA Factory. I'm pretty sure he spent this camp at least some time at Bang Tao, which is great. But Ruchala at American Top Team, you know, he was helping Poirier get ready for Holloway. And I'm watching his fights and like I like his body work. I like his kicks. He got that body kick knockout, I think 2 fights ago. No. Which one was it? It was this one, yeah. Kashmarshik. That was a nice finish. The Formella fight was solid. There were moments where, you know, didn't look the greatest, but overall, like I like that he's always pressuring. I like that he's always moving forward. I think that he's going to be throwing more than Gomi. To me, he seems a little bit more physical than Gomi, but also if you look at Gomi's Instagram, he seems kind of like a unit right now. So maybe that's going to change in this fight. But from what I'm seeing, from what I know, I think that Rob might be the more physical guy. I think he hits harder out of the two of them from what I've seen. I think he might have more finishing upside despite Gomi being very durable. I guess Gomi could also get a finish. He does have really nice kicks, and we've seen Ruchala hurt to the body. That's how Parnassi got him out of there. It was on the ground, but still. But also Parnassi's like really, really good, and I rate him more than Gomi. But either way, while Gomi's the cleaner guy, like the reason I bet Emil against him, right? Gomi doesn't separate often. He doesn't separate often. He has clean performances, but he does not separate. And he also needs space. He needs space to operate because he depends on that range management. He depends on his kicks. He depends on those long shots. And if you take that away from him, he starts to get a little bit uncomfortable. And you could see in the Emil fight, he was uncomfortable. And that's something I could see Ruchala doing here. I could see him making Gomi uncomfortable, backing him up, just throwing more, landing the body shots, landing the body work, mixing it up. So for me, it's dog or pass. Like just for a straight pick, I'll pick Gomi. Fighting at home, cleaner guy. But I think this is a winnable fight for Robbie over here. I think it's a winnable fight, and I think the number's kind of tempting. I haven't made any bets yet, and I don't know that I will. But if I do, you can only get that bet at the House of Stims. Link is in the description of this video. We'll see. For now, lean towards Gomi getting it done by decision, but I don't know that he's going to cover that number. I don't know that he's going to cover, what is it now? Minus 268. Like, I feel like that might be a little too much. Minus 258. I'm not super comfortable with that. Like, I think Ruchala is really good also, and I'm hyped they signed him. Talk about hype signings. We have Patricio Pitbull, who is the UFC vet now in this fight against Losene Keita. Pitbull, 37, 8-0, 38 years old, 5'6" with a 67-inch reach. Keita, 16, 1-0. He's 27, so he's 11 years younger. He's going to be 3 inches taller, though, and don't have his reach, but I'm fairly certain that he's got a longer reach. If you don't know who Keita is, he was the Octagon champ. He in 2 weight classes, in featherweight and lightweight. My one concern going into this fight is that he's been at lightweight for, I think, since 2023. And it's been like, what, 3 or 4 fights, I believe, that he's been at lightweight. So I'm a little concerned about him coming back down to featherweight and making the weight and, you know, not being totally drained. But he fought at featherweight for a long time. He's still relatively young. So I think he should be okay. I think he'll make weight. He'll be fine. And he's really good. This dude hits really, really hard. I think he still has some holes. I do. I'm watching him and like he's getting taken down in a lot of fights, right? He got taken down in Paradiso didn't. That was actually a really good performance. And Paradiso's pretty good too, despite that record. Legierski, did he take him down? He's also a striker. I'm trying to remember. Tape this one today. Bogdanovich definitely took him down more than once. And he also did it while he was like hurt, which was kind of concerning. And Sardari was taking him down a bit. But Sardari's also very good. And he's also very physical. And he's a big lightweight. So not the worst thing ever. Like, I say this because if Pitbull is going to win this fight, he's going to need to grapple. And he is a good wrestler, and he showed it off in the Ige fight. He showed that he can grapple. He did what he should have done against Yair when I bet on him, but he woke up. And maybe it was partially Ige not looking the best, but I think Pitbull deserved that win. He looked great. The striking was, he's a really good striker, Pitbull, but his output's really gone down. His speed has really diminished. Not that he was ever like the fastest guy in the world, just a very hard hitter, but he's a lot slower than Keita. Like Keita is a very fast guy. Like you watch him and it almost looks like you're watching him in like 2 times speed, because he's just going for it. And he's got really fast hands, really fast kicks, nasty body work. And I just think for Pitbull at this stage of his career, it's a tough fight. Like it could be a situation where you have the new guy coming in and he gets a vet lesson, but I don't think Pitbull is going to be the one to give him the vet lesson. I still consider Pitbull relatively durable, but he's getting hurt a lot. He got hurt against Ige in the 3rd. Yair dropped him. He got hurt against pretty sure Kennedy hurt him in his win there. Suzuki knocked him out. So like he's getting hurt in a lot of these fights, and Keita hits really, really hard. Like Keita hits harder than all these people. He hits harder than Ige. I would argue he hits harder than Yair, way harder than Kennedy. I would argue much harder than Suzuki as well. So he's faster. He hits harder. His striking should be, like technique-wise, they're both really good. Like I don't really want to say one's a way better technical striker than the other, but I think with the speed and the power, the body work from Keita, I think he's going to throw more. I think that while I did say that, the grappling's a little bit of a concern, I don't think that Pitbull's going to be able to grapple him as easily as those guys. And even they didn't have an easy time. It's not like they were just taking him down and keeping him there. There were a few times where he accepted full guard and he kind of just wrapped up his legs. But for the most part, he's very good at exploding back up. He's super athletic. And I think he's going to be able to stuff most of the Pitbull takedowns. When he does get taken down, I think he can work his way back up. And I think he's very live to knock out Pitbull, and if not, win a decision. I'm going to lean towards him actually knocking him out. I think maybe round 2. But I do like Keita here. And he does have good cardio. You look at him and you see how explosive he is, and he's like a tank. So you kind of feel like he might gas out, and he does slow down sometimes. But he's been 5 rounds. He's gotten late finishes before. He's been in the championship rounds. He's like you can see on the picture, he's a double champ over there. So I think he gets it done, and I'm really hyped that they've signed him. Another guy I'm hyped they signed, just at the wrong weight class, but either way, we have Axel Sola versus Rhys McKee. Sola 10-0-1. 27 years old, 5'11", don't have his reach here. Rhys McKee, 14-6-1, 29. He's 2 years older. He's going to be 3 inches taller, and he's going to have don't know, but I think he is going to have a reach advantage. So if you're not familiar with Sola, he's the Aries FC champ, but he's been fighting at lightweight for a while. Now, he has fought at welterweight. He started his pro career at welterweight, I think like his first 4 fights. And then when he was an amateur, he was actually at middleweight and welterweight. Middleweight towards the end of it. He's a smaller guy for the division, so I'm not crazy about it, but he's also very good. He just doesn't take shots super well. He's never been knocked out, but he's been hurt several times. And Rhys McKee, credit where credit's due. I've always overrated him, not underrated. I've always overrated him. I love Rhys. I've backed him many times. It's cost me most of the time, and actually I'm pretty sure I did not back him against Franza. So, but I've always believed in the guy. I'm not one of these people who's like low on him. But this is just a weird fight for me. I want to look at it more. But like the way I see it, I think at range, Sola's cleaner. I think Sola's defense is a little bit better. I think Sola's more technical. But he's kind of just sticking and moving and using the jab. Not really a ton more to it. He does have good kicks, though, too. Rhys is just, I think Rhys is liable to throw more output. I think Rhys probably hits harder. I think that Rhys, like, I don't want to say he's more durable. He is very durable, but he's also taken so many shots. Like, he's taken so many shots that at some point that shin's going to crack, and we have seen him hurt as well. But overall, yeah, he's probably more durable than Sola. He's going to throw more than him. He's the bigger guy, and Sola might struggle to use that jab, right? Like, when you're fighting a longer guy, then using the jab isn't very easy. You have to close the distance, use the jab, get out. It's a lot easier when you're the taller guy or when you're around the same height. So here it might be hard for him. I think Solo can mix in some grappling too, though. McKee, not the best takedown defense in the world. He can also wrestle, but Solo's got good takedown defense. He's used to the takedowns. Like, he's been fighting a lot of the Russians over there in Aries, and I've always been high on him. I really like the guy. I'm hyped they signed him. I'm gonna lean his way. I know a lot of sharp people on the McKee side, and that's probably the side in terms of a bet. Like, I'm not betting Solo at minus 130, at least not right now. I want to look at the fight more. I did tape it, but I want to look more. But we'll see. Minus 130, I'm not really dying to play, and I understand why people are on the dog here, but I lean towards Solo a bit. I just think he's cleaner, more technical. Don't think his defense is nearly as bad as McKee's, and I think he can maybe mix in some grappling too. Next up, we've got Balaji Oki versus Mason Jones. Oki, he's going to be 10-2-0, 29 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. Jones, 16-2-0. He's 30. He's 1 year older. He's going to be the same height. He's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. So, good fight. I've never really been an Oki truther. I do respect the guy. He's athletic. He's powerful. He's got a good jab. He's got good basics, but he's very meat and potatoes on the feet. Output is solid if you force it out of him. Aswell did, and it was a competitive fight in my opinion, and Aswell was up a weight class, and I bet on Aswell there because I love the guy. I probably overrate him a little bit too. But Oki, athletic, good enough striking, meat and potatoes, but not necessarily in a bad way. Good power, good defense. His takedown defense is solid, but I still question his grappling. I do. I bet Chris Duncan against him, and I know it did not look great, but I'll argue to this day that my argument for Chris Duncan was that I think Oki's green in the grappling and Duncan can take advantage. Kind of what happened. But shout out Dogfather. But I think Mason's a better grappler, and I do think that's a path for him here. It won't be easy to take Oki down. And sometimes Mason doesn't fight the smartest either. But if he really commits to it, and he often does, I do think he can get Oki down, and I think he's a much better grappler. I still think Oki's green there. I know he's 29, and at this point he's got 12 fights, but I think he's still kind of learning on the job. He has been since the Contender Series, and I think he's still learning. Now, I definitely see a path for Oki. I can understand why people are backing him. Mason Jones, horrible striking defense. He doesn't even really try, but he's durable as hell. He's really durable. He's hard to put away. Maybe Oki can hurt him. I think that's entirely possible. But I just feel like Jones is going to throw a lot more. I feel like Jones mixes it up better. I feel like he has a bit more weapons on the feet. I like the body work from Jones. I like the kicks. I like the hands. And I just think the grappling, the experience, it's worth the price here. He's what? Minus 135. Like, I don't hate that. I don't have a play on it. It's a spot I'm thinking about. Again, if I make the bet, you'll only find out at the House of Stims Discord. Link in the description of the video. But I do lean towards Mason Jones getting it done. Like, I get it with Oki, but I would need a lot more than plus 115. Like, I also don't think he separates well. That's another thing that a problem I've always had with Oki. If he's not getting a finish, which he hasn't really been in the UFC, like, he's not really separating. Let me pull it up real quick. It was like a split with Kuamba, I remember. It was the relatively close decision with Aswell. The Duncan loss, whatever, and then the Salvador win. That was nice. But yeah, I don't feel like he separates in decisions. I feel like you kind of have to force it out of him. And Mason Jones might, similar to Aswell. Mason Jones has no defense either. Aswell also very hittable. But like I said, I just rate Jones a little bit more pretty much everywhere. And I rate him quite a bit more in the grappling. So I think minus 135 makes sense to me. And we'll go with decision. Next up, we got Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig. Modestas 18-6-0, 31 years old, 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. Paul Craig 17-9-1, 37. He's 6 years older. He's going to be the same height, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach disadvantage. So, fun fact, when Modestas made his UFC debut the first time, I genuinely thought, man, this guy could be a top 5 guy. I don't think he could be a top 5 guy, but I do think people underrate him. People don't really like him. I get it. Sometimes he fights very stupid. Sometimes he fights much closer than he should. I had money on him against Prachniow, and that was an incredibly stressful experience. But at the end of the day, he is a good fighter. I do rate him decently well. Maybe not top 5, definitely not top 5, but I think he's a solid enough light heavyweight. He's got good striking, solid power. I think that his counter grappling is good. His offensive wrestling is good. He's kind of a dum-dum sometimes. He can definitely make mistakes. And Paul Craig, not really the guy you want to be a dum-dum against. And if Modestas, for some strange reason, decides to follow him to the ground, he could very well get submitted. Paul can do that to anybody. But also, when was the last time? I think the last one was the Muniz knockout. Yeah. And then, like, Brendan Allen's legit. Borralho, I think, is one fight away from a title. We'll be talking about him soon. Nickel, it's fine. And the Bellato fight was just really, really weird. But, yeah, I like Modestas here. I think he probably knocks out Craig. I think he's smart enough to do something similar to what Borralho did or what Bo Nickel did. Just keep it on the feet. Just don't grapple him. Just strike with him. He's not a good striker. He's very hittable. He's chinny. Modestas is definitely a better striker, definitely faster, definitely hits harder, definitely more durable, definitely much more of a threat standing. So as long as Modestas just keeps it on the feet, he's fine. Like, Paul doesn't wrestle well. I don't think he can take down Modestas. Don't think he's hurting him on the feet. So for him to win, he has to sub him. And as long as Modestas is smart enough not to go down there, he should get it done. I'm probably not going to back him with my money because I don't think he has the best fight IQ. But I do think that, the line kind of makes sense to be the minus 350. I know that usually you don't want to lay that on Modestas. I get it. But to me personally, that makes sense. Not decision. I think he knocks him out. We'll go round 2. All right. Now we're at the co-main event. The fight you were asking about, brother. We got Benoit Saint-Denis versus Mauricio Hoofy. BSD, he's 14-3-0, 29 years old, 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. Hoofy, 12-1-0. He's 29 years old as well. Going to be the same height, but he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. Absolutely sick fight. Going to be a really, really fun one as long as it lasts. And I understand making Hoofy the favorite. It makes sense to me. I do think the line's wide, but I get making him a favorite. He's looked really, really good these days, even against Lon Top. I know everybody keeps pointing to that fight like that. Lon Top stuff, and he looked very, very legit there, Roofy, even without the finish. The Bobby Green knockout was nasty. He's really fast. He's definitely the faster guy. He's definitely the better striker, the cleaner striker, more power on the feet. BSD on the feet is kind of just big winging bombs and just really, really heavy body kicks and head kicks. But he's aggressive. He doesn't give space. And look, with Hoofy, I know a lot of people have been like tweeting about the fight with I forget the dude's name, the Russian guy he fought in the Contender Series, Islam's training partner, blah 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 blah. I had Hoofy there. He was losing. He was losing that fight. He was down, and then he got the finish in the 3rd round, whatever. And it was a good finish, and it was a good performance, and it wasn't terrible to be losing to that guy. It was a good fighter also. I don't think he's fought since, which is a shame. But he also, if he's not getting a knockout and he's fighting a good dude, he doesn't necessarily separate all that much. And he also hasn't really been pushed. Who's pushed him? Nobody. The closest you can point to him being pushed is either the Contender Series fight, and that guy doesn't push a pace, or the Lon Top fight. But Lon Top was just getting beat up for 3 rounds. No one's tested him. No one's really seen what he's made of. And BSD is definitely a better grappler. He's a good wrestler. He's incredibly strong, very physical, very legit jiu-jitsu on the mat, really good ground and pound. So, is it out of the question that BSD comes out here? Yeah, he's liable to get bonked by Hoofy at any point really on the feet. But if he's constantly in Hoofy's face, going for takedowns, I think he gets them. And I think on top, we don't know. We don't know how Hoofy's going to handle it, but I lean towards BSD possibly being able to sub him. I lean towards him being able to land good ground and pound and win minutes that way and moments and land damage. I think he's live for his own finish. So I lean towards BSD here. Honestly, I lean towards the dog. I just think that he's more tested. He's taken his L's. He's learned his lessons. He's still only 29 years old. He's tough as nails. Maybe not the most durable. Doesn't have the best striking defense, but he's tough. He'll fight for your money. And I can't really think of a better guy to back it up at plus money. So in general, I like BSD here. I'm going to pick him to win. I'll lean by decision. But I could see him finishing Hoofy too. It's not to say I don't think he can get knocked out. Like I said, he can get knocked out here. Hoofy, the much better striker, super, super legit. Fight nerds, we all love him, but I'm siding with BSD in this one. Hoofy does have really good timing. He's very, very, very legit. He's a 6 striker. I just think that it maybe doesn't make a ton of sense to make him, like, now it's getting a little bit more accurate, but even minus 180, I think that might be a little bit too much. Like 60%, that's what, minus 150. I think that's fine, I guess. Even that makes me a little, like, I'm picking BSD outright. So I think it's closer to 50-50, but like, I guess you can make an argument for 60. That's minus 150, right? Yeah, it is. But like minus 180, I think we're starting to get out of hand. But we can move on to our main event. Next up, we have Nassourdine Imavov versus Caio Borralho. Imavov, 16-4-0, 29 years old, 6'3" with a 75-inch reach. Borralho, 17-1-0. He's 32, so he's going to be 2 years older. No, 3 years older. He's going to be 2 inches shorter, and he's going to have the same reach. Borralho season, baby. Let's go. I think Borralho gets it done. I really, really, really rate the guy. I have since day one. I've always thought he was really, really good. I've been backing him every opportunity, and I think he's going to get it done again. I know he's fighting Imavov at home, but personally, the only reason I think we're getting this close line is because Imavov knocked out Izzy. And I was there. I backed Imavov there, but like he wasn't necessarily winning that fight up until the knockout. He's just, then he got the knockout. And Izzy, let's be real, he's kind of done. I don't really see Izzy, like he can come back and get wins. I don't know that he even will, honestly. I don't know if he has that motivation anymore. But like, it's obviously a meaningful win. Izzy, even if he's 40 years old and you beat him, that's still going to be impressive. But it's not the kind of win that it would have been in a couple years back, is what I'm trying to say. But the way they match up, like in the striking, yeah, Imavov's a better striker. He's the better kickboxer for sure. He's got good power. He's got really good kicks, good combinations. He's fast. He's smooth, solid range management. He's a sniper, like the nickname. But I think Borralho's striking is getting really good too. Like I think it's getting really, really clean. And like if Brendan Allen can have moments on the feet against Imavov, why can't Borralho? Why not? I think he can. I don't love that his chin is like this. That I don't love. But I also think he's super durable. And Imavov, while he's got solid power, I don't think it's the craziest power. Let's not forget, he did not knock out Phil Hawes. Lost to him, actually. But he didn't knock him out. And I think Borralho should be able to take a shot. So while I don't love the chin being like this for Borralho, I think it should be fine in this fight. I think in the striking, while Imavov is a little bit faster, a little bit cleaner, more technical, I think Borralho will be competitive and can very, very well win minutes and rounds on the feet. But I also think he has a huge edge in the grappling. I think he has a really big edge in the grappling. His control might not be the best sometimes, but I think he's a good wrestler. I think his jiu-jitsu is very, very good. I think that he can stay on top of Imavov. I think he can land good ground and pound. I think he can submit him. I think he can win minutes through the grappling. And I think his cardio is better too, personally. I think his cardio is better than Imavov's. I've seen Imavov slow down over 5. I know he's got a late finish there against Cannonier, and then he has the... he didn't finish the lead, did he? I don't remember off the top of my head. Taped this one like 3 times already. I taped it like a month ago and then again a little closer. But yeah, Delija wasn't a finish, but he looked solid there. I think if you push him in a 5-rounder, then he does slow down. And I think Borralho is going to push him. I think the grappling might tire him out as well. And I just trust the grappling, the cardio Borralho more. I trust his fight IQ a lot more. He's a very intelligent fighter. And I really do think Borralho gets it done. I'm fairly confident in it. Knock on wood. I hope I don't jinx it. But I do really like him in this spot. And I think he challenges for the title next. Either him or the winner of RDR versus Fluffy, which is going to be Fluffy, by the way. But spoiler alert. Yeah, and honestly, he probably has one of the best chances of beating Chimaev. Probably the best chance. I guess maybe Fluffy, but if Chimaev has 5-round cardio now, maybe not. So I don't think anyone beats him, but I guess Borralho probably has the closest shot, him or Fluffy. But yeah, in this particular fight, I like Borralho to get it done. I think he's the side. I think the line is solid. And yeah, that's it. That's UFC Paris. Let me run through the chat real quick. I'll run through my picks one more time, and then we will get out of here. As always, if you want my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, you can only get those at the House of Stims Discord. Link in the description of the video. Fukaya Sugma, does Borralho beat Hamzat or Fluffy or RDR? How do y'all see middleweight playing out? Well, like I said, I don't really think anyone's going to beat Hamzat, but I think the closest would be Borralho. I think he's the closest to having the skill set to do it. But between themselves, how does he beat Fluffy? Borralho versus Fluffy would be very interesting. That'll be very interesting. Like, I think Borralho's better technically, pretty much everywhere by a margin. But Fluffy's pace is crazy, and I love him too. I honestly hope they never fight because I love them both a lot. They're like my two favorite middleweights, but I guess I would lean Borralho against Fluffy, and I would definitely pick Borralho over RDR. Hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And he's fighting at home, so the refs aren't going to touch him. I would say RDR is the best matchup for Hamzat since he's the best off his back and could scare him with the constant jump knees. I mean, look, let's not pretend he's some kind of knee god because he recently discovered knees. Like, that man wasn't even really using them until the Bo Nickel fight, okay? And it's not really jump knees. It's mostly like clinch knees. I don't know. I guess he can give Chimaev some problems, but like personally, I think RDR is on a really good run, but I think it's probably going to end soon. That's my personal opinion. But all right, let's run through the picks one more time, and then we will get on out of here. We've got, all right, we're going to go Hughes, but not touching that. Gustafsson pending tape. Tavares, but definitely not touching that, and also pending tape. Patterson, Fernandes pending tape. Tybura pending tape. Oumar, Gomis, but dogger pass. Keita, Sola, Jones, Modestus, BSD, and Borralho. So I haven't taped it yet. So this is pre-tape, just going off of what I'm thinking. My gut reaction is I think he wins, but it's a really, really close fight. And I think that he probably should not, like, I don't know. Like, I think he wins, so I guess it's okay for him to be minus 120, but it's just weird seeing him as the favorite against Rinat, who's a much better fighter than Chaos, in my opinion, at this stage of his career, and probably always, when he was plus 180 to Chaos. And, you know, those big advantages he had over Chaos, I don't really think that he has them over Rinat, you know. Is he going to be stronger than Rinat? I'm not convinced. Is he going to be the better wrestler? I don't think so. Is he the better striker? I don't think so. I'm mostly picking him based off of clinch and pace and cardio, because Rinat can be clinched and Rinat can be paced. So pre-tape, that's why I'm picking Gustafsson, but I have to really get into it. And I do agree with you. Like, the line seems a little bit off considering Renat's been a huge favorite in like all of his fights, and now he's the underdog. And Gustafsson's got one UFC fight, and it was against Chaos, who I think is a little bit disinterested at this point in MMA. So, yeah, my pick very well might change after I tape it. And I'll do my shorts this week, finally bringing the shorts back. I know some of you guys were upset about those being gone. Those will be back this week. And once I tape it, I'll have a better opinion there. You guys can also reach out to me always in the DMs. I'm happy to talk fights. Won't give out my picks. That's only at House of Stims, but I'm happy to talk about fights. But all right, guys, thank you guys all for tuning in. Peace out. Good luck this weekend, and I'll catch you next time.